Hello everyone, today I'm actually going to be making 3 different videos, maybe 2 different videos if I don't have enough time, but I have actually been running a little bit behind schedule because, as you might be able to tell from my voice, I have been a bit sick to the point where I haven't been able to speak for the last few days. It's almost been a week now. So I'm just going to try and catch up on these videos I need to make for the customers that I installed these lightsabers for, and I guess we'll just get right started with this OWK1 that I made for Ryan. This is the OWK1 by KR Sabers at the Saber Armory. It's a pretty cool lightsaber. It's based on the Phantom Menace version of Obi-Wan's lightsaber, because technically there's 2 versions of this lightsaber, one from the Phantom Menace and one from Attack of the Clones. This one is the Phantom Menace, because if you can look at it here, it's got the purple hemi in the middle. If I can just get it to focus a bit. Don't know if it'll be able to focus, but it's got the purple hemi right there. It's also got more of the aluminum brushed finish rather than a chrome finish. I don't believe this one has the brushed option that the Saber Armory offers, but in any case, this is the Phantom Menace version. So let's get right into this install. I did install it with crystal focus, just a basic crystal focus. It's NeoPixel like all the lightsabers that I make. It's got no other extra features or anything like that, and I will talk more about it once we get a closer look onto the table. I'm going to start off by saying that this was not my favorite install. I actually had a little bit of trouble and confusion while I was installing it, because this is a little unusual for an install. And I have made an OWK1 before, but it was the Corbanth version or the 89 Sabers version. I'm not entirely sure which it was, but in any case, I liked installing that one better. This one is, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it has grown on me after it's installed, because of course you've got the initial frustration after you do the install and it takes you a couple times and you're just frustrated. So after I've had some time to sit back, I do really like the way that this is made, but I will say that I'm not a fan of the way that this silver piece is, because this is all one big piece here, this neck and the handle portion. All that silver part, and I apologize if I cough or anything. I'm still getting over whatever the heck it was that caused my voice to be lost. But in any case, this is all one big piece, and it's really hard to tighten it down to a point where it doesn't move or rattle. You can feel a little bit of a wiggle here, so I imagine it can be a bit frustrating. But if you hold it like this, there's no wiggle, so you really won't have any problems if you're, wielding the lightsaber or doing whatever with it. Because you will be clasping it between the black portion and the silver portion with your hand, so there's really no wobble. But if you just have it separate here, it does wiggle a little bit. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it does wiggle a little. You can try and tighten it as much as you can here, but I haven't found a way to keep this from, being a little wiggly. But that aside, I think everything else is really, really nice. I like the way that these little windows are made. They're very, very tight in there. I tried to unscrew them, but they just wasn't having it. But these are really nice. They're kind of like a rubbery feel to it, the little windows. They're not actually windows, though, which is more accurate to the prop, of course, but it also means there's no shine through in the emitter section, which can be a bit of a shame for some people, or, if it's more accurate and you like that, then hey, all the better for that. Same with this. This isn't a shine through like with the Corbanth or 89 Sabers version. This is just a purple hemi thing, just right there. I had to glue it on. It did come with a couple options. They had the purple one and a clear one. They had two of each. One of the purple ones was scratched, so I put in the non-scratched one, of course. And then everything else is pretty standard. The cool thing about this hilt is it's really, really easy to do a sort of reveal. So I'm actually going to be making one of these down the line, very, very in the near future, I'd say. But I have an OWK2 that I got a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but when they were first released by the Saber Armory, and I just got in the parts for Master Chassis for that, so I'll be doing basically this exact install, but with the Master Chassis. Now, let me go over a couple things that I did. Of course, I did the purple hemi, glued that in, and then I also had to print and design a little, I call it a button booster thing, for the bottom or the base of this red button. So if it focuses in here, here you go. You can sort of see the black plastic ring that I printed for it. This is to allow the button to be pressed a little deeper into the hilt because I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but this was the DIY hilt kit from the Saber Armory. It was bought by my customer, sent to him, and then he sent it to me. So it came with all the parts to install it, so all the electronic parts and everything. It was missing the chassis, unfortunately, which is like a 1 in a million mistake, because the Saber Armory is an amazing company that has great quality control and customer service, but this mistake was 1 in a million. So in any case, we got it solved. I printed out the chassis myself, so I'll show you that in a little bit. But all the other parts were here, and the buttons that come with it, for whatever reason, or maybe it's the way that it printed, the chassis printed, I'm not sure exactly, but this presses perfectly fine, but this one didn't press. So I had to figure out a way to allow it to press. It could also be that when this does not have the booster, the button sort of, I don't know if you could see it, but it comes really close to the hilt itself, the button. So perhaps it would hit the hilt or something to stop it from pressing all the way in. But in any case, it doesn't press as deep as this one. This one presses way deeper than the other one, so it didn't hit the button. So I designed and printed a tiny little ring to go on the button in order to allow for that. And I sanded it down to a point where it works perfectly, and it also doesn't make the button protrude too far from the hilt. Because if you can see, when you press it down, it is like 1 millimeter away from the hilt. It's very close to the hilt, so this is as close as you could possibly get it in order to touch the button and not stick out super far from the hilt at all. So when you look at it, it's pretty much exactly the same as it was. It's just like a 1 millimeter difference, maybe 2 millimeters, I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, that's how I solved the button situation. And then I did the same thing that I did with the last hilt that I made with the dark saber, and also the same thing I did with the Heart of Siberia, where I glued in the screw to something to allow you to unscrew the screw by hand. So, as you can see here, you've got a screw and you've got the D-ring, not the D-ring, the covertec knob. So, instead of having to take a tool to, like an Allen key, to put it in here and unscrew it every time, you just have to use your hand, unscrew it by hand. So it's super easy now. It's just a little bit of Loctite to lock it in place, and then boom, you can just unscrew it by hand. And then you just hold on to the pommel, and then you can turn it, and there you go. It reveals the inside workings of the lightsaber, which is why this is a really cool lightsaber for a crystal reveal or a crystal chamber, anything like that. So it also comes out, so it just slides off. You can unscrew the pommel section, but there's really no need to ever, since you can just unscrew this by hand and then you can pull it off or turn it. So just to show you that, you can unscrew it. There you go. And I'll put that to the side while I show you the chassis. So this is what caused me a little bit of trouble, because I didn't know how this was installed. I probably should have looked at the tutorial that Guthrie Designs has for his master chassis, since the chassis are pretty much identical. As you can see, it's black, which is not the normal print material of the Saber excuse me, the Saber Armory chassis, because as I mentioned, I printed this myself. So it's black, which is kind of nice because it blends in with everything. But the thing I was so confused about was how you get this into the hilt, because this is basically two chassis that you have to install separately and then connect them in the middle. I didn't understand that, and I was trying to do what I normally do, which is start from one end and work my way up. So I started with this section, I installed everything in it, and then I had all the wires up here, but then I was realizing, wait a minute, how on earth am I going to install the soundboard section and the button section? So I was a bit dumb, so instead of leaving this as it was, I deconstructed this, I uninstalled it basically, and then because I wanted to have my wires all in one piece. I didn't want to have to connect them like this with heat shrink and soldering them together or whatever, because I think it doesn't look that clean. But so I was like, okay, I'm going to start from the top, work my way down. So I did that, and then when I got here, I realized, wait a minute, I can't install it because the wires would then get all bunched up, because in order for me to install this while it was inside the hilt, you know, there's a bunch of excess wires that you have to deal with in order to install it. So it'd all get bunched up, and then it would be a mess. So then, so then I realized, wait a minute, I just have to do something, the exact thing I didn't want to do, which was install both of them separately, install them into the hilt, and then connect the wires. So I did that, and as you can see, it doesn't look too bad. It actually was sticking out further until I realized, wait a minute, I can probably just shove all the wires through this little channel, because they were coming out of the channel, but you know, you have excess wires from when you solder it up here. So I used some tweezers to like slowly shove each one back through the channel here to go underneath the soundboard, and that way everything got straightened out. So now I've got all the wires straightened out and flat against the bottom, nothing sticking out, and yeah, that's how I installed this and why I was a bit frustrated with it at first. And this is where the soundboard is. This is installed and is pretty much not going anywhere ever. It's being held in place by this set screw here. The set screw is holding in the top section, which is the NeoPixel connector, the soundboard, and the button holder area. Then we have this set screw here that came with the hilt. It's holding in this chassis, but I found that when you just use that set screw to hold this in, then this section of the chassis pops up every time. So when you're trying to take out the battery, it pops up and it's loose and wiggly and really, really annoying. So what I did was I used some E6000, put it underneath this the chassis area here, and glued it in place. So it's pretty solid now, but of course E6000, you can always pry it off whenever you want, but you won't really need to. I'm talking to Ryan now. In any case, this is solidly just locked in place. It's not a removable chassis at all, it's just, it is what it is. Which, personally, I'm kind of a fan of these days, having non-removable chassis, because it just feels a lot nicer to handle and manage. In any case, let's go over how you operate this lightsaber. It's pretty straightforward. This is the kill switch. If you switch that on,
I have a bad feeling about this.
You've got, you know, power to your board, and you switch it off. If you want to have access to your SD card and the micro USB is right in there. The SD card is in there. You just click it, stick your fingers in, pull it out, and then you can deal with it on your computer, and then you just put it back in. It might take a little bit of finessing to get in, but there you go. It's not too bad. It's pretty easy. You've got plenty of finger space here. Other than that, let me just
I have a bad feeling about this.
show you the lightsaber. So you just put it on, line up the hole, and then screw it back in. Super easy. Now, this is installed with all of my standard fonts and all the CFX standard fonts, so the free fonts and basically it's all the free fonts that I have with the 30-something, the 30-something blade profiles and 30-something colors and whatnot. So this has everything on there that I normally put on except for one sound font, which Ryan asked me to put on. I found a Phantom Menace sound font. I like the one from K-Sith because it sounds a lot more like it's from the movies. So we got the K-Sith one, which is what's on here right now. So it works like a standard CFX lightsaber. The red is the power button. The gold knurled knob is the auxiliary. This works just like a crystal focus, so you turn it on by pressing the power button, turn it off, hold it for like half a second or whatever, or a quarter of a second. Sound font selection, you hold down the auxiliary button.
Sound bank selection.
Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Go forward with the auxiliary.
Red. Green.
Go backward with the activation.
Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And then you can just enter by holding it down.
I have a bad feeling about this.
And there is no shine through, as you can see. So let me take the blade plug out. You just use the set screw here. and let me put in a blade. You can see the NeoPixel connector in there. Kind of, not really. So let's put in a blade, tighten it down. Sorry, I'm doing it off screen here. There we go. And then of course you've got spectrum mode. If you turn it, it changes colors. You can just go through the different color profiles. I'll leave it on blue. But if you press auxiliary, or if you hold down one of the buttons, you go to the blade profiles, and then it goes to the different animations that you may or may not have set up. But of course, you know, I set this up. So this is all the different animations. You can tell better in person the different animations, but we have about 30 different ones here. So there's quite a lot. There we go. And then blaster deflex, got lockup, localized lockup. It's hard to show you on here, but it's there. And then I'll just quickly cycle through all of the fonts. You also have font gest, so if you hold down the activation button in Clash, it goes forward one. And this is pretty loud. I have it on maybe 60%, 70%, something like that. You don't want to have it at 100% because it'll put your speaker at risk. But this thing is a super loud lightsaber. Green. Sorry, I'm not the best at controlling my own lightsabers here, but sorry if this is really loud. It's actually right next to my microphone here, so the best way for me to do this, I gotta figure out a good method of doing this, but in any case, hold down the button. Yeah, I'll just move the microphone away a little bit. I'll probably have to mute it later.
Purple.
Let me actually move this. It'll be easier if I operate this with my right hand. I think. Okay, yeah, if I do this, it's way easier. Okay.
White. Yellow.
You are as clumsy as you are stupid. Take your weapon. Strike me down with all of your hatred. The weapon of a Jedi Knight.
Oh, that's my cat visiting. Let me move her real quick.
Ah, yes. A Jedi's weapon. Nightfall.
Crystal focus. Crystal focus.
Nebula. Nebula.
These are all the standard Crystal Focus sound fonts on here that I assigned the blade profiles and colors to.
Green.
Revolt. Shadow Watch. The Force has been true to be known. The Old Republic Crucible. The Old Republic Malign.
This one's a sort of fire blade.
Youngling.
I was doing so well. Love this one.
This is General Kenobi. Lovely. More smiling faces. You're wasting your time.
Ancient prophecies. Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Alright, we're back to the beginning. So that about does it for this lightsaber. Let me just take the blade out. And it's really easy to turn everything off. And of course, to charge the battery, you just pull it out. I'll show you how to do that in a second here. We'll put the blade plug back in. Tighten it up. There we go. You just unscrew it. There you go. You can just take out the battery super easy like that. And then you charge it. It's just an 18650 lithium ion battery. And then you just put it in. Super, super easy. Now let me just put this back and then we'll end off the video. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, and thank you Ryan for trusting me to build your lightsaber. I hope you like it. I got it installed with that font you wanted, and I got all the chassis situation figured out, and this thing is working beautifully right now. So let me know if you like it. I'll ship it off to you as soon as I can. Now, the last thing I want to say is everything you need to know about customizing a crystal focus lightsaber will be down in the description of the video, so go ahead, check that out. And to everyone else, if you like these videos and want to see more, feel free to like and subscribe, and I am going to be making a lot of cool lightsaber content and Star Wars related content in the very, very near future. So, to all of you, have a happy new year, and thanks for watching.